Happy Sunday, sir.
Hey, happy Sunday, Tim. How are you, man?
I'm doing very well. Very busy. A lot of good things happening in my life. Glad to have an hour to sit down and chat with you, man.
Hell yeah, yeah, good for you. That's awesome.
Yourself? You doing all right?
Yeah, rocking and rolling. Yeah, pretty relaxing week so far. Just doing some building, so that's always really nice. And then trying to keep up with the crypto space as of late. It's been kind of a wild west, even more so than
Mm-hmm.
these last few years, it seems.
Your beard's looking pretty good. I gotta say. Mine. I got like a cowlick over here. I need to manage this. I see. I know that I'm on camera. I see it.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
so dude, there's like a lot of crazy stuff going on. I
Absolutely.
mean, you mentioned just like it's hard to keep up. Like, it kind of blew my mind just seeing like, oh, Trump coin.
Right.
Dude, what were your initial thoughts? Like, when did you first hear about this?
I probably first heard about the Trump coin maybe I think when he launched it, and I was like, "Oh, this is weird." And then the next morning, seeing that it was worth like, well, I think it was like worth like 20 cents when I first like learned about it, and then it was worth like $20, and it was just like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, that's crazy. Just like overnight, people just aped into it, like YOLO, right before he was inaugurated and stuff like that. So pretty wild. How about you?
I saw it. Let's see. I don't know the price. I heard about it. I think at like 20 billion uh,
Okay.
market cap, like whatever that price is, and then it still went up like 4x from there. I I
Right.
just I said it to my wife. I was like, I know this is going to go up, but I can't bring myself to risk any money on this. Like I work too hard.
Absolutely. I mean, especially with I'm YOLOing into it. Like I've seen some people they did that, and it's just like, guys, like what are you doing? You know what I mean? It's just like it's just such a shame, you know.
Dude, I saw the somebody like did some analytics, and there was an account that threw in $1 million, just like right, right at the right time. They exited with $300 million, and I just like I can't imagine. Just I cannot imagine doing that.
I know, right? Like, and like $1 million to me would be like an absorbent amount of money. And even if I had a million, just like that's liquid, I probably even like with Ergo, like I wouldn't put $1 million into Ergo. You know what I mean? I'm gonna
Like,
diversify, and so it's just like it's crazy. Some of these people just like I don't know whether it's FOMO or whatever the case. I don't know. It bonkers my mind.
yeah, there's something to say about that. Like just once you learn how to deal with that kind of money, it's just like a whole different thing. Like I even if I put $1,000 and it was like now it's worth $20,000, I'd be like sweating. Like, oh
Yeah,
geez, like this is like a significant portion of my yearly salary. I need to think about this carefully. But three
right.
hundred thousand dollars, like, oh, there's
Right.
a house. There's a house in my wallet. I don't know what to do.
I know, right? And even like so, if you had say like house is paid off, things are good. If you had 300,000, would you ape all that into Ergo, or would you like buy other assets, or like because again, kind of comparing sort of the thought process with I think Ergo is pretty primed and a solid coin, but so I'd be curious, like, right? What would you do?
Yeah, how would I do it? So I don't think my strategy would actually change from what I do currently. So what I've done is I tried to pick um okay, so like how much erg like would really change my life
Okay.
if it did half of what I think it could do. So I could be off by 50% and still change my life. Um and so I mean, for me, like my goal, I guess, has always been to accumulate like 10,000 ERG, because like I really think ERG could see triple digits, in the next 5 years, 10 years. I don't know. Like, why not? And that's a house.
Yeah.
And, so like just DCA, if you could get to 10,000, we get to 50, or that's 500. That's a big house,
Yeah.
Um, and
Absolutely.
so I don't know. A million is like would I buy a 500,000 erg? I don't know. I don't know. If I was just like rolling, maybe,
Mhm.
maybe, but
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah, because that sort of idea came into my mind because I saw this video with this guy with a bag over his head, and he was doing call options on DJT on Robinhood, and he bought it, and then it just started going down, and I guess it was extremely leveraged because it's not like the stock went down like a lot. It was like maybe making up numbers here, but say it was $50, but then it went to like 49.6, 49.5, and then 49.1. And then you just see him losing money, and it's like 200,000, 300,000, 400,000. And I guess eventually it was all 500,000. And he's like, oh, my wife's going to leave me. Sorry, grandpa. And I guess because it's his grandpa's money or something, it's just like, I don't know. Even if I had all that money, I wouldn't be putting it into like one basket like that on.
Yeah.
And like, dude, if you have like 500K, that's like a decent amount to
You made it.
right. Yeah. Right.
You made it.
Job, you know, put that in a nice stable asset in terms of like 10% growth or something, or, you know, buy a house, maybe buy some rental properties, make some extra income, and just like live sort of a nice, you know, low key lifestyle. You know what I mean? Instead of just trying to make it big, I guess, overnight. It's crazy. It blows my mind, you know? So
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you, man. I don't think I would ever like risk. Well, so I read a book called Anti-Fragile, and that really like shaped my investing philosophy. Like, just don't blow up. Like, whatever your risk is that you actually go to zero, like just minimize that, because even if you're taking some like high risk bets, but a smaller position size, and they're asymmetrical. So like my ERG, like okay, let's say you put $10,000 into ERG, like that's not going to crush me. Um,
right.
or whatever your percentage is, and but it could change your life. So
Right.
definitely not going to hurt. It might like sting a little bit, like damn, I just lost $10,000, but like
Right.
that's less than like an average car in the United States, and
Right.
it's okay. My wife's not going to leave me.
You're right. Yeah, exactly. It's like you can always make more money. And then we're young too, relatively speaking, you know.
Yeah,
We're in our 30s. And so it's like we lose that amount of money, you know. And in my opinion, I'm under the impression here, it's like, you know, now is the time to take riskier sort of ideas. So then from an asymmetric perspective, it's like, but when I'm like 40, no, probably not. I need to like, you know,
yeah.
make sure I'm a little bit more secure and stuff. And so yeah, I don't know. So in some
Dude,
aspects,
I
it's like,
totally agree.
yeah.
I totally agree. And like, I don't know, I'm like starting a business right now. I actually started two business. I started another business earlier this year, and like, I'm just like, you got to plant the seeds. And then when you have kids and all that stuff, and they're a little older, college is getting close, you got to like start thinking a little bit more conservatively.
Right. Yeah, all the
Yeah.
bills and stuff, and um, but yeah, so from a 401k perspective, I not that I YOLO'd, but I definitely made some good investments, and I'm starting to get not nervous, but I've made decent amount of money because of Bitcoin and the ETF and stuff. So been thinking about when should I take profits, because you know, rather than kind of like we're talking about, you know, like a 2x is great, you know what I mean? The 3x is nice, but like the mythical 5 and 10x, I don't know, you know. So it's like
Yeah.
money off the table, don't be greedy, you know what I mean? And so I think, and then kind of leading back into sort of like the Trump and Melania coins, right? It's just like, I think it's like intention and then mixed with the greed, right? And then those two things together, or it's like obviously a very, very powerful force. Because I was even feeling some FOMO because I couldn't buy the Melania coin and I wanted to. And, you know, seeing that people were making a lot of money, but then it's like, all right, let's take a step back. Let's just breathe. It's not really that big of a deal. You know what I mean? It'll happen, you know, but yeah, it's funny. I think money definitely changes you. And so if you're like, you know, make all this money overnight, you know, it kind of potentially can change some of your principles. And so, you know, the slow and steady sort of thing wins the race, you know, rather than trying to make money overnight.
Yeah.
And so I'm really happy that, you know, I'm in my 30s, I'm doing well, but I didn't make like millions of dollars when I was in my 20s, because like who knows what type of person I would be just because of the lack of the foundation kind of thing. And I
Absolutely.
think that's what we're seeing
Dude,
now.
I think that's so key. Like, there's I think our friend Cafe shared this like years ago, but it was a Reddit post about all the terrible things that happen to people who win the lottery,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's just because, I mean, exactly what you say. Um, money is like a magnifying glass of like what's already there. And if you're like not the right kind of person to have $100 million, like it's gonna kill you. It's legit gonna kill you. And this just like goes through all these details about people's family turning on them, strangers recognizing them and like robbing them, like kidnapping their daughter, like,
Oh my God.
just
Yeah.
like so many people just like commit suicide, get divorced, their life is terrible, they end up bankrupt, and then everyone still thinks they're rich, so they're like the worst combination of like famous and poor. And like
Yeah.
that's just so bad. Like, oh,
Yeah. And I can't imagine what that would feel like. Imagine like having that, going through that experience and then walking away like probably worse off, than before. They probably have debt. They probably, because you probably have this nice lifestyle, and then you're just blowing it. And I think I've heard, and I could be wrong, right? But in some cases, that's kind of happens to like sports athletes, where they come into all this money, then they stop doing the sports, and they're still doing the lavish lifestyles, and then everything catches up with you, and it's just like it's kind of like karma, right? It's like if
yeah,
you're not like building and again of that foundation, it's going to come back to you in
yeah.
that magnifying glass. It's probably it's going to be just going to grow something, and that's going to smack you. And if you don't have that foundation to hold tight, right, it's going to knock you off your feet, which is never a good thing.
Yeah. So what do you think about just like the president, or I guess like to be president launching a coin? Like, is that cool? Is it inappropriate? How do you feel?
Yeah. Well, I would say if it was the president, that would definitely be kind of a line cross. But I thought it was interesting. He launched it, technically before he was president. But he was a past president. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. I'm not really sure of the strategy. I think he's definitely playing some sort of like 4D chess with respect to this, especially with some of the talks about how US based cryptos, according to Eric Trump, might not be taxed. So that's, so I think they're kind of playing the field to kind of to unearth some different sort of ideas, and then so people can play their hand. But of course, irrespective of that, it definitely just seems like a money grab. And then again, going back to the greed and the attention thing, people just sort of YOLOing into it. I don't know. It's not really a good look
Yeah.
from a humanity perspective, right?
And just that they hold 80% of the tokens, like with a
Right.
super quick unlock, like I was like, oh, man,
Yeah,
this is
30
like,
years.
it's literally the example. Like we had a recent episode with Pepper, and he was like talking about all the things that he would do correctly to make it like a legit long-term fun meme coin. And like, I don't know if this is meeting those standards. It's like,
Right.
it seems like people are going to get burned. My hope would be that he would take $1 billion of this and like use it to help with all the recent fires and like other tragedies that are going on, because
Totally.
like that's like a legit fundraising mechanism. The libertarian dream, is like, oh, if you believe in a cause, you should donate to that cause, and like
Totally.
crypto's a way to make that happen. Not that that's what's happening, but like
Yeah.
I wish that's what would happen. I don't think it is, but surprise me.
Yeah, no, that would be a lovely surprise. They take all the liquidity, and I think they took like 30 million profits, like a wallet that didn't even buy any, took 30 million off the table, or something like that. So yeah, that would be nice, but I think it's truly like altruistic, wishful thinking for them to be like, yeah, do something nice with this money. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, the 80% thing, I remember telling my friends, I was like, hey guys, this is happening, just be careful, because that's crazy, 80% that they control. Whereas like going back to like Pepper, I don't know, I think most of it's been distributed. I don't know how much he holds, I guess, as the
Yeah, it was like a 5-year lockup.
Right. So that's obviously, I feel a lot more better about that rather than, this crazy 80% in 3 years. So, and then it's among like 3 separate parties, I think I read. And then Melania coin, I think, is even worse. relative to the holders.
Yep.
So I don't know, I don't know if all the cards have been played, so it's hard to speculate in some sense what is reality, but what we know is it's interesting nonetheless.
Yeah. And I was also like just really disappointed with like all of the centralized exchanges like scrambling,
Yeah.
scrambling to
Right.
launch this thing like and then it ended up being terrible. Like people couldn't withdraw their Solana or whatever. There wasn't enough
Right.
full. And um then like legit projects, that aren't gambling. Like Ergo is just not gambling. Like I'm not
Mhm.
gonna 100x in 6 months. Like I'm just not. And I
Right.
don't want to. It's not what I'm here for. And it's like that they're just bending over backwards for the quick thing. And it was pretty disappointing to see, really.
Yeah, it's like a very materialistic sort of idea where it's like, and I think it's mere, like money is a tool, and the tool use case is how you sort of your perspective is. So I think for us, the 100x for Ergo, that would allow for like freedom. So that tool for us is like a freedom perspective versus like everybody else potentially. And this is sort of an opinion, I guess, but they're they make all that money, it's just going to be supporting, like, I guess, maybe a lavish lifestyle, or not. It's kind of like less of a freedom sort of idea, or
Mhm.
I don't really know. So, you know, and it is just so interesting and weird to kind of see, like you said, all the exchanges kind of support this. They're like, it took one day. They're like, we're so excited to launch Trump coin or Melania coin, and meanwhile, we're just like, I see some people, with Kraken, like, oh, it's been 600 days asking Kraken to list us. And it's like, it's being like crickets. And it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
The tide's kind of changed, and everybody's just kind of, in some sense, just getting greedy. And so the bear markets, I think, is going to get nasty. I think people are going to get onboarded this cycle, and it's going to get really, really nasty for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's something I've always kind of thought is like it's probably at some point going to get worse before we really turn the corner. Like there's
Yeah.
going to be some sort of fight, between crypto or between crypto and fiat, or crypto and governments, or the
Mhm.
CBDCs and the principal product. Like there's going to be like some sort of tension because the values don't line up.
Mhm.
And at some point, you got to pick.
Yeah.
I like that. I do think that there's going to be multiple chains. In 20 years,
Mhm.
there's going to be like multiple things happening,
Mhm.
but there's not going to be. People are going to learn their lesson one way or the other, and
Yeah.
and I think it's going to get ugly in some way, which would just be
Right.
super interesting to see play out.
It's like with like gold mining, like back in the day, there's like this huge gold rush, and then
Yeah,
the
exactly.
people selling the pickaxes. It's like, yeah, go go go, but then come to find out, there's people following you to your gold mine, waiting for you to find the gold. Then they kill you, or the actual mining of the gold is extremely dangerous. And so I think we're right at that gold rush phase, and then right behind it is sort of this wild west of like, people stealing from each other, killing each other, so to speak, for the gold. Using that analogy, hopefully that does happen this go around, right? But or like the dangerousness of it, I think, is on its way, you know, of that,
Yeah.
greed, gold rush sort of idea. I don't know. I'm not really looking forward to it. Hopefully I don't get trapped in that just from supporting the crypto community. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's gonna be
Yeah.
very interesting.
I mean, I feel, dude. I know you a little bit now, and I feel like you're gonna be on the right side of that. Just thinking about diversifying. You're gonna have a house. You're gonna have some Bitcoin. You're gonna have some Ergo. Might have some real physical gold. Might have a gun to protect yourself. I don't know. It's just like
For sure.
cover your bases. You're good. You're good.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But it's I guess the black swans, I guess, is the biggest concern. Like what happens if, I don't know, some crazy sentiment happens, and then just all of crypto just goes to shit, I guess, as a result, because Ergo is not that it's pegged to Bitcoin, but it's run against it. And I don't know. Um, I saw a tweet by Ben Cowan, a financial analyst, crypto YouTuber, and he was like, I've never seen a more case for 100% Bitcoin dominance, and it's like, totally, dude. Like, it's definitely, man. Hopefully,
Yeah.
99%, and the other 1% is ergo, but
Yeah, dude. Yeah. All right. What else is happening, dude? I saw Vitalik like kind of snap at somebody
yeah,
because they're like in a transition phase where I guess they're trying to get a new Ethereum Foundation board, and some people were like, "Oh, well, it has to be this guy," and if it's not, like, we should all revolt. And it was really interesting to see the way he responded. He's like, "No, that's not how this works. Like, I'm in charge, and I'm going to make sure that the right people are in." And that just seemed like kind of antithetical to everything that, I don't know, Ethereum and crypto is supposed to stand for. Like, is that how a DAO should work? Like,
right.
we have this foundation, and then but there's still like the one guy who just like gets to say what happens. Like, I
Right.
I don't know. I guess I don't know Ethereum as well as I know Ergo, and I can't imagine Kushti doing something like that. Like,
Mm,
oh, the miners voted for something, and so I'm not going to accept that. Like, I
right.
don't think
Yeah.
he could. I think they would just fork it because everything's open source and nobody has the keys like Vitalik has, I guess. But
Right.
like, it just like didn't sit quite right.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to, their transition to proof of stake, and kind of really becoming more centralized, and maybe even senses like blood in the water, like all the degens, so to speak, are leaving Ethereum, moving to Solana, and so, it's trying to stay relevant, I guess, and it's kind of a weird thing, like you're saying, like, to take a historical take, like George Washington obviously did some really badass things, first president, heck yeah. But then, the people were like, be our president again, be our king. And he's like, no, 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 no. It's like, we did a lot, so we don't have a king again. And then it's ironic that this is happening in some sense with Ethereum, but he's like, in this case, George Washington would be like, no, I'm going to be king again, with Vitalik. And so it's just like,
Yeah.
it's definitely the wrong sort of take. It should be more. But I mean, I guess it's his baby, but I don't know. I feel like there's just similarly. I don't know too much about Ethereum too much as of late relative to Ergo. So, but I don't know. It just seems like a lot of bloat, and there's just a lot of problems, and I don't know. I feel like it's on its way down. It could be the first chain that actually becomes a popular chain and then ultimately fails because of things like that. And so again, going back to the bear market being nasty, like maybe that'll be something that we finally see. We finally see one of these top three coins finally take a shit, you know what I mean? And implode because of, they're kind of straying away from their first principles, straying away from these like initial mindsets. And I think, going to a protocol that's supposed to be immutable, and then going back and changing that, was sort of their first sort of problem that they did, going from proof of work to proof of stake, pissing off a lot of the miners. And then, they probably did a lot of other stuff, against the miners. So
Well,
it's interesting.
I was going to bring up the whole reason ETC exists.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
like that. I mean, that was the first one where like, oh, I'm just going to
Right.
go back because we made some rules that we didn't like and
Right.
didn't work out. I disagree with that, but also the continued existence of ETC, like, yeah, maybe ETH will like totally implode, but my thinking is that it's probably never going to be smaller than Ethereum Classic. Like, would it be? Because like how is that even still a thing? Like, what is even happening on Ethereum Classic? you know,
Right. Yeah.
I remember looking at uh, their total value locked. It's like a tiny fraction of their chain. Like, they're just like mining. I, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know, man. So maybe it won't disappear entirely, and
Right.
it's just like one of those things. It's the cat's out of the bag.
Right. But what if Vitalik coming to his senses is like, you know what, Ethereum really did make some, kind of big mistakes. I'm not going to be an Ethereum developer. We're going to do everything with Ethereum Classic and take back our first principles and stuff. And that would be very interesting, kind of idea to kind of combat some of the things. But even if he did that, I don't know. I feel like from a smart contract perspective, all those flaws and stuff are potentially in Ethereum Classic. I'm very ignorant when I guess I say that, but um, I don't know. It maybe be best to start over and do a new chain, but it's just like, I don't know who wants to do that. And kind of talking about, how we said in the past, it's interesting that nobody sort of forked or copied Ergo, but like in that sort of paradigm, there's been no reason to. There's no where the community wants to go one way. If anything, I've been seeing some people not really like Demirage, so it's like, okay, well maybe they'll fork it and won't keep the Demirage capability. But I mean, everybody's super strong community. Everyone has sort of the same sort of consensus and first principles around that sort of stuff, I guess. So um, there's no need to copy it or fork it, like
And
other
we have
chains.
a voting mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
We have a like, and I guess I understand like a user might be like, well, I don't like this, but I'm not going to mind and to vote. But like, tough shit. It's like, what are you contributing? It's like there's no free lunch. You don't get to
Right.
just like complain on the internet and then make everyone follow your will. Like,
Right.
you get it's proof of work, dog. You gotta put it in if you're gonna have a say. And like that just makes a lot of sense to me. And I don't know. We could argue about Demirage if they wanted to, but they're not going to win that.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean,
I
because
think we'll have a Demirage uh, episode soon. We should do a deep dive on Demirage.
yeah, absolutely. That would be fun. And yeah, demystify it a little bit and kind of just talk, Bitcoin, why it should have it, and things like that. And I think right there have been some talks uh, to do that on Bitcoin. I think at least I don't know.
I think there was some ideas in the past, but everyone's just like so against it. They're so against it. Yeah. Anyways, had one more maybe negative things to talk about. Disappointing thing. ThorChain. Uh, I saw that ThorChain is now insolvent, and that's unfortunate because I think it's like a top 20 coin. It's like
Oh
pretty
man,
big. I don't actually know what the rank is. Would you look that up for me while I pull this
yeah.
up? So I found a tweet explaining like exactly what happened, and they're basically as of the 23rd, the network was paused, um, which
Oh
is
wow.
crazy to me. Um, okay, um, so basically, it looks like they are like $200 million short of they owe more ETH and Bitcoin than they have. And so the way it's going to play out, so I guess they like mint Rune and then sell that into the pool, like kind of rhyming with Terra Luna, the way that functioned. So they mint this token and then they sell it. And so if there's like a massive sell off, they would just like mint a massive amount of Rune, and that would just cause like a death spiral. Um, and so um, the way that this works is like the guy's basically kind of playing it out. Like there's really two options that they have. So like you could probably just like have a race to the exit, and you'd probably be able to extract about $75 million. Or option two, you just kind of like default on this and just like kind of like sorry, like everybody kind of got burned a little bit and try to rebuild from there. Sounds better than option one, but like,
Yeah.
man, that's tough.
Right.
That's real tough.
How come they can't fork it? I guess. I mean, not that that would be another good option, but like, why can't they just roll the chain back and then fork it and have Thor Classic and then whatever?
Well, I think it comes down to like people are holding credits to withdraw ETH and Bitcoin, and you can't roll those back.
Oh,
You
okay,
know,
right.
so no matter what, they're short. They're short the goods. You know, and then all they have is this thing that can be minted with like no hard supply. So it's like you can print a bunch of rune if you want, but that's just going to make the value drop. And there's nothing you can really do
Jeez.
to, you know, and his reasoning is like, you know, yeah, the ThorChain is valuable. You know, the bridge is useful, and it's generated 30 million in fees over the past year, which is, you know, not nothing. And so he's like, you know, we can just like address it, you know, as best we can. People are going to take their medicine and fix the problem and try to move forward. But the whole thing just is like sad, and I feel for people who are in that situation, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, geez, that's got to be a gut wrenching feeling, for sure. It's very similar to like sort of the American economy with printing of the dollars and stuff. So, I mean, with our
Dude.
debt, it's basically, and it's like a replica because we're almost insolvent too, right? Because we can't
Yeah,
pay back the trillions if we had to pay it. So, I mean, I don't know.
yeah, you're totally right, man. Um, and
Not
you
good.
know, just like makes me really appreciate everything that's gone on with Rosen, where they're
Yeah.
like, hey, you should use the bridge and then get your coins off. Like that's probably best. You know, like they're the people who are running it and would make money for me keeping it on the, you know. So I just appreciate them, and I feel for people who are affected by this.
Yeah.
Um,
It would be cool to see Rosen actually do some sort of like triage relative to it and then compare, could this happen to Rosen or really any other project on Ergo, and then
that's
be
a
like,
great idea.
right, be like, oh, these are some interesting kind of ideas that we've never really thought about. Let's try to just apply them to our use cases and
Yeah,
see how we're protected or not. And if we're not, it's like, well, we don't have problems yet, but like, let's maybe fix this while we can. And let's look ahead, and see what other people are doing. So that would be kind of an interesting idea.
dude, that's actually a great point. I think somewhere in this post, the guy is like, I mentioned this like a year ago that the chain is short ETH and Bitcoin
Oh,
because of
wow.
the way it functions. It's a little bit short, just the way the mechanism works. And he like raised the flag, and like nobody really addressed it. So I think that would be a
Man.
great exercise just to kind of analyze and do a little thought experiment on how it could
Yeah.
impact Rosen. Mhm.
And like talking about, getting involved with the ecosystem, we need these like sleuth detectives, these sort of forensic analysis, so that's like your use case. This would be a great thing to do. And, maybe talk to Joe Armenio and, I'm not sure if there is a current bounty, but I would imagine there is a bounty if you find a bug. Right. And so that'd be something if you did find a bug, like good for you, let's not enact that, right? But then here's some funds for all your hard work, because it's like, Rosen is, has a lot of money as far as I know, right? On the bridge to facilitate.
More than the centralized exchanges. They have more erg stored on Rosen than all of our centralized exchanges
Right.
combined.
Okay. Wow. That's incredible. So, dude,
Yeah,
that's a lot of money. So it's like,
it's a lot of
yeah,
money.
let's protect that as much as we can. And so, if you're a forensic analyst, let's go. We need your
Dude,
help.
speaking of analyzing, I love visiting rect.news every now and then. Have you ever seen this?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
Oh, really? Okay, let me take you to the main site. So, all right, Rect is like a it's just like a little news outlet that only that only just talks about the worst things that happen in crypto, like all of these hacks, or just here's their, they have an article on the Trump casino, and they'll just highlight like, oh, like here's this $32 million that gets trapped between protocols, or just like all the little funny things that happen because people have unsound um, protocol designs, or just super risky situations with bridges or whatever. And I just really appreciate the leaderboard where these are the largest hacks to have ever happened in crypto. And this is
Wow.
from 2022. The Ronin network lost 600 million.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, and you can click on it to like read the write up on like how it happened, and they do some of that sleuthing that you're talking about, and I just love like unaudited, like you know
Wow.
SBF like $500 million. Sorry,
Jeez.
Tom Brady.
Dang. So that means unaudited, they basically launched something and then had nobody check it, right? As
Yeah.
opposed to like, I guess number
Yep.
5, Wormhole, Neodyme was the person or group
Yep.
that checked it. Okay.
Yep. Yeah,
Interesting.
and you could just see all of these go, and like so many of these hacks are like bigger than all of Ergo, and I'm just like, you guys never deserve to have that. Like, come on.
Right. Right. Yeah, dude. And it goes back to what we were talking about. It's like, you know, and even with our wallets, with protecting your keys and stuff, it's just like, some people, it's like, dude, if you truly think Ergo is going to make it, you need to treat your Ergo with whatever value that is, right? And so you need to protect it. You need to do the things, you need to do your due diligence. Don't like, for some of us aren't like for like a real, like you're going to buy a house, you're going to do your due diligence. You're going to do an appraisal. You're gonna check the water's good. You're gonna do all these things. You're not gonna buy a house sight unseen. You're not a real estate investor, so of course you're not gonna buy a house sight unseen. But that's kind of what we're doing here in some aspects. You're buying a chain sight unseen. You're using a project sight unseen. You're not knowing the assumptions, and it's like, of course, shame on you for not, facilitating that. And it's kind of a bummer. It hurts
Yeah,
in the crypto space, right?
it hurts everybody. Like, this is the last negative thing I would say. Like, I feel like crypto lost a little bit of credibility with all of the Trump coin and the Melania coin. Is like
Yeah.
just dang it, man. Like, could you just say like, we're not going to sell the confiscated Bitcoin? Like,
Yeah.
like that would have been better for crypto than like all this shenanigans.
For sure.
So all
But
right, dude. Let's go
on
ahead.
the bright side, though, real quick, Ross Albright got released, so that was like a big win. I
Yeah.
would say, I was like, "Oh, let's go, man!" Like that was really, really cool and exciting. And I saw his video he posted, and so I'm really interested and excited to kind of see what he has to say, especially with the ethos. And he was kind of obviously very in on it in the very beginning. So 11 or however, I think was he in prison 11 or 14 years, something like that. So it'd be interesting
Yeah. Too long.
to see what he has to say.
Yeah, dude. I actually didn't know a ton about him until maybe the past like 6 months when the discussion started happening, and I had some time to like kind of deep dive and was looking at all the people who are like in a similar boat, like him and Snowden and Assange. I remember when Assange and Snowden got booted, and I was like, that kind of doesn't sit right, And then this is like, it's not the same thing as them, but really, like, he didn't sell any drugs, man. Like,
He just made a
you
joke.
know, like more people die from cars than from whatever happened on Silk Road. Like,
right.
those things are already illegal. We don't need to. Yeah, I
It's a
don't know.
dangerous precedent, like I don't want to get arrested and thrown in jail for the stuff I'm doing on the mining pool or the airdrops I'm
Yeah.
doing. It's like I'm just like kind of following my passion, and it's like it's a shame that that has happened to like other people. Obviously, different scales, of course, but
Mhm.
um, but there's a reason why some people, because of that, right, want to stay anonymous. They don't really trust the ideas that the government. It's like people say, "Oh, I want to take away guns." It's like, well, can you ensure me that the government won't ever like do anything against me or malicious or anything like that? It's like, no, you
Yeah,
can't do that.
yeah,
So of course I'm going to keep my guns. And so in the same case, that's why some people stay anonymous, I would imagine.
yeah. And like, well, can you ensure me that some asshole down the street's not going to 3D print a gun and come and rob me?
Right.
Absolutely not. You're crazy if you think you can promise that. And so, like, it's just one of those unenforceable things. But positive for Ross. Another positive. Trump just did an executive order to outlaw CBDCs.
Yeah.
I'm not like the biggest Trump fan, but I totally think that's necessary. And like, I'm just really glad that somebody's having that discussion.
Mhm.
Um, Not to say that I like totally trust, you know, they're not gonna like just say that a name and then have some Trojan horse where, oh, Trump coin is now this, you know, or whatever. But people are thinking about it. It's in like in some way, a huge spotlight where we're like worried about the money. And
Right.
I think that's going to lead us to a good place.
Yeah, but I'd be the thing I guess I'm worried about there. This it's like okay, interesting, but maybe they're just. But what if they like wrangle Bitcoin into doing that? Just because okay, maybe we can't create a new CDBC, but they can still probably wrangle Bitcoin, tie a noose around its neck, so to speak, and then force it to do whatever they want. And it's kind of leaning that way. So I don't know. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, I kind of feel like um, there's like the surveillance tools are already there for everything that already exists. Like
Mhm.
Bitcoin, all my Bitcoin transactions could be traced back to me, like they just can,
Mhm.
minus some good mixing. Um, but even then, it's like if like the government wanted to, like put their resources into figuring out what I bought, like they could probably do that, and I just have to accept that. I have a reasonable amount of privacy, and if I had a subpoena against me, I probably did something, like it's
Right. Yeah.
reasonable. It's reasonable.
Totally.
I'm not
That's
like some fugitive who's,
right.
like I'm not trying to do all that. Um,
Right. Well,
so
not
I
yet.
think
It's
it's
not that you're going to do anything illegal, but like there could be a new administration where we're now considered fugitives because of some crazy new whatever, and then it's like, so it's like yeah, you know, whereas like again, not that we would do anything grossly negative to anybody or anything, but then again, it could be shaped like that, and I don't know. Either way, hopefully nothing crazy ever happens, and we can go about our lives and be free people. So
dude. So one more bit of positive. I saw that the GOP oversight committee started asking exchanges, were you ever coerced into debanking companies or individuals due to their crypto involvement? And
oh
there was like a list of like 12 big names. And I think that's just the start. Like for me, my eyes were like really opened when Twitter files happened. Um,
mhm,
like I don't like love Elon or Twitter or anything, but I just thought that was like really good. Like,
yeah,
yes, we should absolutely know that the government was censoring people based on what they wanted to happen. Like, that's crazy to me.
absolutely.
hmm And I think that this is even worse. Because like, well, I don't know if it's even worse, but like, it's a strong thing to say that somebody doesn't have the right to bank. It's
Yeah,
like, if you remove somebody's right to transact, or you don't have a right to transact, like
yeah,
what can you do? What can you do? You're basically in the Stone Age because you can't have a credit card, or
right. Yeah, and there's so many hoops that you have to jump through, and then then you effectively you lose some rights, right? Like you can't do things like you could normally do, and it always pisses me off when I try to do like a Zelle transaction, and it's like you have to call us, and it's like, dude, this is my money. Like I know what I'm doing. I press the "Are you sure?" button. You know what I mean? It's just like I don't really
yeah,
like all the control that the banks have. They have definitely a lot of control, and it's just like I bought a house a few years ago, and it's such a big pain in the butt to get the down payment out. It was just like, guys, come on, this is like
yeah,
my money. Like, let me. And I get it, wire transfer fraud and things like that, but I don't know.
yeah,
Like we're in the 2000s, we should have sort of you know policies and tools to kind of get around this easier. It's like it's ridiculous.
yeah, man. I remember being asked that question, like, where did you get this money? I'm like, does that matter? Because
Right.
I asked him, like, why does that matter? And he's like, I don't know, dude. I just have to ask that question. And I was like, all right, I'll stop busting your balls because this isn't
Yeah.
your. Yeah. Sorry, bank
He's just
teller.
doing my job. Yeah, right.
But
It's hilarious.
really though, I really did feel kind of, wronged in that way. Like, I won't have to tell this guy where I got my money.
Totally.
What, I don't know him.
Absolutely. Crazy.
All right. So, hey, before we wrap up, man, is there anything you wanted to share about things you have going on?
Yeah. I have deployed sort of a prototype minor rights protocol through the airdrop mechanism that I have. Still in some prototyping things I need to work through, but basically, as of right now, it's running. And so every time the Signauts mining pool finds a block, after we get the confirmation, 100%, 10,000 flame shards is what it's called, are sent out. And so that'll be the mechanism we have right now for the Hashmon's NFT project. And so the idea is you'll mint the NFTs, and then from there, let's see, if you're a miner on the pool, you'll then be able to mine the evolution shards, and then from there you'll be able to evolve them, and then we'll have some prizes for catching them all. And then I'd also like to tie this back into sort of token distribution and token launches. And so it'd be interesting to launch some tokens that the miners essentially have access to distribute. And so right now, some other work that I have left to do is integrate a pool fee. So just like mining on Ergo, the pools get a fee. So we need to integrate that, and then also a protocol fee. And so for the Hashmon project, the protocol fee will go to a wallet, and then whoever catches them all will probably get all of that protocol rewards, which are the evolution shards, which probably will have some sort of inherent value. And then outside of that, I want to launch my own minor rights token and emission token. And so it's kind of in a similar sense, but got some specifics, tokenomics to kind of look more into, but probably we'll launch that probably sometime in March. So stay tuned for more.
Sick, man. Yeah, that's really cool. Awesome to hear that you got a prototype and like a road. I just heard a roadmap. So
yeah,
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, and we were going to want to do the airdrop sort of thing first, and then get into more of the smart contract magic, because the smart contracts I'm definitely very new to versus sort of the airdrop, and the way I have stuff set up is more kind of in my skill set. So baby steps.
Cool. Yeah, there's something about working within your wheelhouse. It's like yeah, that's awesome,
Absolutely.
man. All right. Hey, well, congrats and thanks for chatting, dude. I think we both got to go here in a couple minutes, so let's wrap it up.
Cool.
I'll see you.
Right,
I'll see you around.
Yeah, see you soon.
Take care, buddy.
See ya.